Hi, welcome to Cloud Computing. In this session, we will discuss about the management console of AWS, that is Amazon Web Services. Management console basically lets you control, manage, control and monitor all your cloud computing resources. So in this session, we will discuss about that. So let us start with that. How do you create and manage cloud computing resources using AWS Management Console? So let us start with Internet Explorer. So here what we will do is that we will go to the AWS Management Console. For that you have to first create a login ID and password. So go to like URL called http://aws.amazon.com. Once you reach here, you can say that I want to sign up for this. So this is the home page of Amazon Web Services. Here you can read little bit about Amazon Web Services and you can find out, but this is the URL you should always remember, aws.amazon.com. Here you can create a new account, because you have to create a new account to use the Amazon Web Services. And you can have it in a different language if you want to read it. You want to read about the Amazon in general, you can read it here. What is AWS, how you save the cost saving, all of those things you can read here and understand it. There are a few recent news which have come up. So these are the things which is very important for you to understand and come. So this is your home page for Amazon Web Services. So let us go ahead and we'll use create a new account. So I want to create an AWS account for free, pay only for what you use. So what I am going to do is that click this one or this one, it will take there only. So now what we will do is that we will go and do a sign up now. Okay. So once I click sign up now, it will ask me what is my first full name, company name and all those things. So let us start with, I will put my name, Suresh, company name, I will put it as Isaac, United country, I will put India, and address line, I don't want to give you my home address or office address, so I will just put some address. City, some city, I don't want to divulge the city as well, and some state. So after you put all of this, it will take you, you should fill properly. See, right now I am filling all junk data, but you should fill all proper data here. And once you fill all proper data, this is also you should fill proper data. Don't put any junk here. I am putting just junk here for example purpose, but do not put anything like that here. And after that, you have to put here, type the characters in the image. So what is this character? This is to avoid if some robot is entering this or real person. So that is what it is called. Check here like this and create account and continue. And then it will ask you the credit card number, credit card, you can select whatever credit card number, card holder's name, expiration date, and for billing purpose use my contact address as my billing address or enter a new address. So once you do all of this, the final page will be submit and then it will create an account. So that's all it is all about, creating an account. The most important thing what you should understand is that your credit card, see, read this line what it says. It says your credit card will not be charged until you begin using AWS. So just because of you have created an account and given him a credit card, it will not start charging. Only for when you start using it will do it. And you also get a free tier in the beginning for this, and many of your application users may be able to operate with AWS free tier. So there you can utilize for learning purpose, it is completely free. So what I can say it that if you just want to learn Amazon, it is completely free. There is nothing required, because this credit card is only utilized if you are going to use the resources more than what is allowed in the free tier. So this free tier, this one, this is good enough to have one simple Linux or Windows box installed, simple application deployed, simple internet usage and all those things. So very basic usage, and all of that is completely free. So you don't have to worry about that. This credit card will not be charged. But if you are going to use like 8 CPU box, 10 boxes, high internet connectivity, data transfer, huge amount of data storage, then that credit card which you have signed up, that will be charged and you have to pay according to that. So I will repeat it. For learning purpose, Amazon Web Services is free of cost, although it asks the credit card to sign up. Once you sign up with this, you are ready to go. So what I am going to do is that I am going to assume that you have done this part and you have a user ID and password. So let us start with the user ID and password. Okay. So I am going to here, and now since I have already registered something, I will just go and say here, go to either you can say my account or login. You can just say click here my account. Okay. So if you have previously logged in, it will show you, otherwise it will say sign in. So here you have to put the email address which you have registered earlier and the password. So let me just show you the account which I have created myself, and I will use that email ID and password for that purpose. So let me just show you here. So basically I am just entering my AWS account user ID and password. Our secure server. So this brings to the Amazon Web Services dashboard. Now here what you will see is that it says that you have signed up for these are the various services called CloudFormation, CloudFront, Cloud Search, CloudWatch, DynamoDB, EC2, MapReduce, Elastic Cache, Glacier, Mechanical Turk, Relational Database, S3, SES, SNS, SQS, S3, SWF, SimpleDB. So many of them. Okay. So basically what I am trying to say is that Amazon Web Services is a collection of services. It is not just one service or something. So AWS is Amazon Web Services. So there are a lot of services offered by Amazon which helps you to solve a lot of your hosting and computation challenges. So there are a lot of challenges and problems and requirements when you have a large amount of servers to host, manage, monitor and control them. So all of them can be solved, those problems, by using one of these services or a multiple combination of these services. Now it is asking that some of the services I am not signed up for, and that is infrastructure services to your account. Basically it says that there are some services, specialized services which I am not, which is fine, and then I have not purchased even the support, but because I am just learning, so I don't care. Okay. Now these are the list of services. If you want to go into any particular service in detail, you can click it here and you can go. Let us assume I want to find out what is about this simple queue service or simple storage service. You can click here and it will take you to the home page of that particular service. So on this page you will find out all the details about S3 Amazon service, Amazon simple storage service. So basically S3 comes from 3S, 1S, 2S and 3S. So this 3S becomes S3. So that's what the naming convention is. And you can learn a lot about this service. What are the functionality of this service? How it helps to protect your data? What is the pricing of this service? How can you get started with S3 like you want to use S3? But how to go? So you can read about this. So this is the complete documentation and guide for reading about what are the common use cases, what resources you need, and Amazon S3 design requirements, intended use and restrictions. Okay, how can you transfer large amount of data in using S3? So if you want to use the Amazon S3 web service or Amazon S3 service, you should read all of this and then go from there. Let me go back to our home page of Amazon web service AWS. This is here. In the same way, you can read about all of these services one by one, and it is not very complicated. Amazon has tried to make these services pretty simple and straightforward, so it shouldn't have so much of a trouble. So I would think that it is not much to this. So just go and read about these services one by one and it should be fine. Now next thing is that if you want to understand about your personal information, security credential, usage report, how much you have used the system, what is the billing alerts, billing preferences, all of that about your account is provided here very nicely in this home page of Amazon Web Services. So this is a kind of a AWS home page for a account holder. Now next thing is that how do I use them actually, and that is where I will go and click something called AWS Identity and Access AWS Management Console, and that is where this guy is important. So every time you want to really do something, you will go here. If you want to learn something, you will come here. So just remember, AWS Management Console is the point where I will go and actually do something. So let us go and do. So I will go to the console called AWS Management Console by clicking here. So the moment I click here, it takes me to this one, AWS Management Console, and it tries to give me a web-based interface to manage your services, making AWS simpler to access and use, and all of these things. So what you can do is that you can sign in to the AWS console. So I will go ahead and I will say, okay, go to the AWS console. Now the moment I said that, it didn't ask me any other user ID and password. It's just saying that I am going to AWS console. Once you log into Amazon Web Services, sign in, first time user ID and password, you can come to this console anytime. And this is the most important console which you will be using. Now there are two ways you have to work around. So it has a lot of web services. So Amazon Web Services are this area. Okay, so let me just give you a quick rundown of this one. So this complete thing is called Amazon Web Services. These are the various Amazon Web Services. These Amazon Web Services has been categorized into various groups, and these groups are first related to compute and networking. This is called compute and networking related services. Here you have Direct Connect, EC2, Elastic MapReduce, Route 53, VPC. These are the services we will understand. Related to storage and content delivery, there is another service group of services which Amazon offers called CloudFront. Basically it is a CDN service by Amazon. Like Akamai and other, they have a CDN service. There is a Glacier, archive storage in the cloud. So sometimes you want some data to be stored but you never use it, like once in 2 years you will use it, or once in 3 years you want to use it. So just for archival purpose. So that solution and service is called Glacier. S3 is a very scalable, large amount of data storage in the cloud. And then there is a storage gateway which helps you to integrate your system with S3 in a much more easier way. Next solution or services from Amazon in Amazon Web's AWS service is group is called database. In that, it provides a lot of different solutions and services in cloud computing, and one of them is called database group. And here you will have DynamoDB, Elastic Cache, it is an in-memory cache, RDS, it is relational database system. So using this service RDS, you can create MySQL database in cloud, you can create Oracle database in the cloud, you can create SQL Server in the cloud. So if your applications need database in the cloud, you can create all those kinds of a database using this service called RDS. DynamoDB is another kind of a storage mechanism database, and it is a NoSQL data storage, generally used with some of the latest computing paradigm like Hadoop and other applications, frameworks. So if I are using Hadoop, you can use this ready-made DynamoDB, which is a NoSQL database. Other option is that you can also use in-memory cache, and that is Elastic Cache is another service which helps you to create a small amount of database in memory itself for caching purpose, which helps the application to become run fast, right? So we have seen that there is a compute and networking. First was compute and networking, and then we have seen storage and content delivery, then we have seen the database. Now let us see one which is deployment and management. Now how to do the deployment and management of all my servers? For that they have given good number of services. If you have in your company, let us assume that you have 20 people and there are 2000 servers, or let us assume 200 servers. Which person with what access, what he can do on which server, and all of this requires quite a good amount of, quite a good configuration or access management system. Otherwise, you cannot provide access to various users, to various servers for various kinds of tasks. So for all of that purpose, to manage your servers, Amazon provides some web services or tools you can call, which we put in the category called deployment and management web services. One of them most important, which I use very frequently, is this one, in identity and access management web service. This is used very frequently. These also you can use, but this is one which is used very frequently. Now next one is app services. There are some services which are themselves an application which you just use that as an input output, and that is called app services itself. So cloud search, you can provide a search services. If you want to your application to use some kind of a service for sending email, you can use this SES, push notification service, message queue service, and workflow service for coordinating application components, so SWF. Now there are good number of these services which are provided by Amazon. Now how do I use each one of them? So what I will go and do is that I will start using one of them. So let us assume and click anyone, and now you can access this through here as well. So either you can do it like this from here, you can do it from here like this. Computing and networking services, storage control, database, deployment, here, console home. Okay. So it is all up to you how you, and you can edit the shortcut. So if you want to drag it, this one, let us assume I want to drag this one to here because I use this. So it is just a way of convenient way of putting this thing. Okay. Now every time I log in, I don't have to go here, search for here, or I do here or do it. I will just go and see here. So let us start with a service called EC2. Now I want to use a service called EC2. What is EC2? What is S3? all of those things, first somebody has to understand about them, get a clarity and understanding before you go and work on them. So this was the basic of Amazon EC2, and this screen is taking time to show up, so let us give it a second. Now we will discuss about, let us see, EC2. Here it brings the dashboard of a particular service called EC2. Like this, every service will have its own dashboard. As it says, if you see here, it says that EC2 dashboard. Okay, so this is what is important, and in this one, it will, you can manage what are the various EC2 instances, what are the spot requests, reserved instances, AMI, bundle tasks. Now all of these might be little confusing and overwhelming for you right now. What we are going to do is that we are going to understand about various services of Amazon. What are the various services? Let us see that console home. Okay, here what we are going to understand is that first we will understand about each of these services. Each of these services in brief. I will explain you what is EC2. I will explain you what is S3. I will explain you what is RDS, the basic concept. I will also give you a good idea about what is Elastic MapReduce, Cloud Formation, Cloud Watch. I will give you an idea about IAM, email service, messaging service and all. Once you get a brief idea about this, you can start using each one of them one by one. Most of the time, what we use is EC2, this one. 90% of the people these days use EC2 and S3. So these are the two most widely used web service, Amazon cloud services. So if you have to learn about, I would suggest that learn detail about EC2 and S3, and others you can slowly pick up and learn about them. So that is the very basic idea about this. Now we'll go and learn about EC2. So in EC2, what happens is that the concept is that in cloud computing, it will give you a small server for you to work with. So it lets you create your own server with the operating system what you want, with the kind of a hard disk and RAM which you want, and the kind of security you want. So basically it is a mechanism. EC2 is a service by which you can create your own server in the cloud and use it for your purpose. Okay, so let me just go and discuss about some of these services, and I will come back to this console and we'll see how to do about this. So let us go to our presentation. Now in the previous session we have understood about what are the plugin details and Eclipse plugin and everything. In this one, we'll understand a little bit further about the various AWS SDK and how to use it. So AWS SDK is useful in the Eclipse so that you can easily create new Java projects. It helps you to create new Java project. using the AWS Java library. You can use the Eclipse Java IDE to build and debug your applications directly into the Amazon cloud. It automatically downloads new version of SDK through the Eclipse update site. So those are the benefit of this. Let us see AWS Explorer. It helps you to create, view and delete Amazon S3 objects. So you can see all of the objects just like a folder and files. So the way you manage all the folders and files in your desktop, same way you can manage all the folders and files in Amazon S3 cloud using AWS Explorer. So that is the good part of this. Okay. You can add, edit and delete resources to help build and test your application without leaving the IDE. So these are the AWS Explorer, AWS SDK and AWS Elastic Beanstalk. All of these three, have been provided in Eclipse plugin. So that is what is the good part about AWS Eclipse plugin or toolkit. All of these are, you can use just SDK, you can use just Explorer or this one, but if when you download and configure Eclipse plugin, it will let you use all of these three and it makes your development much easier. Okay. Now how do you set up a Eclipse plugin for AWS? First is you have to install Java 1.5 or higher. You can download the Java from this URL. Next is install the latest Eclipse IDE for Java Enterprise Edition developers. You can download it from here. You must be signed up for the services you want to use. So that is Amazon Web Services. So sign up for the Amazon Web Services. And there is another plugin kind of a thing called Eclipse Web Tools Platform 2.0 and Eclipse Data Tool Platforms 1.7 or higher based on your requirements of Eclipse distribution. So if you are using Eclipse IDE for Enterprise Edition, you may not need these two, but if you are going to use Eclipse Classic, then you will definitely need both of these to be installed in your system. So that is what it says, that you need to use Eclipse Data Platform 1.7 or this one. Now go to the menu called Open, Help and click Install New Software. Inside this Install New Software, you have to enter this URL called http://amazon.com Eclipse. And you can put whatever you want at the top of the dialog, but this is the place from where you will download your Eclipse plugin for AWS. From there it will provide you a list and you can select AWS Toolkit for Eclipse from the list below. Click Next. Eclipse guides you through the remaining installation steps. Sometimes this steps might take 5 to 10 minutes. Once it is done, go to Windows Preferences and AWS Toolkit and click Configure Account Name, Access Key ID and Secret Access Key. So once in the AWS Toolkit, you have to do all of this. Next one is that you should also install Putty and WinSCP. Putty helps you to log in remotely to your servers sitting in cloud in a secured way with your own public and private key encryption. WinSCP helps you easier way to transfer the files from your desktop to your cloud servers in a much easier and convenient and UI driven way. So you can do it like FTP get, FTP put through the command line using the Putty. That's also possible, but WinSCP just makes your life little easier to give you a UI framework to transfer the files from the server to local or local to server. Putty, you can log into your server, run some command prompt, check out anything, and whatever you want to do, you can do it there. And you get pretty much as a root password as well. Now first you have to do is that you have to download a key from your AWS console in PuttyGen. Next is that save this private key in some new file, and then configure the Putty using a location of your private key and configure the DNS name of your AWS instance. So we'll talk about all of this in a while. Okay, so let me just go and check out here. So far we have understood about what is basics of tools and basics about all those AWS management console. The next topic we are going to discuss is identity and access management, and then EC2.